Really moving ahead. We have apologies of Matthew Lloyd, Les Carlisle, Robert Tonner, George Pulowski and Marie Brad. Is there anyone else that has...
Ian Sizeland as well.
Ian Sizeland? Oh, okay, sorry. I'm reading the early copy. I'll keep the latest copy in front of me. All right. I sort of will make an apology because I'm going to have to leave probably around about 9:45. So we have to sort of try and finish the meeting off quickly.
You'll just miss out on a cake and a cuppa.
Yeah, I'll miss out on my cake and a cup of tea.
Oh, you get a refund.
I have to fly.
2 pieces next month.
Hmm?
2 pieces next month.
2 pieces.
Cake.
Oh, okay.
And we've got to eat all that cake tonight too, because there's no one to eat tomorrow night.
True. I'll eat it if you guys
Just
don't,
get
so don't
stuck
worry about it. You know,
Yeah.
He runs the meeting, so it's up to him.
I had my fair share of cakes and pastries
On the weekend.
On the weekend.
yes. 2 Johns and myself were at the IBNS conference in our time and on the
Yeah.
weekend, so we did nothing but eat.
Well, you-
Typical
Yeah,
conference.
yeah, you know.
Every 2 hours it's morning tea or afternoon
conference
tea or
was about
lunch.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, you sit down and listen to the talks for 2 hours and
I did you a favour, I didn't wake you up.
I woke up just in time to go and have afternoon tea.
He was lying there fast asleep.
Yeah, well,
Did you take a photo?
yeah, I was tired. But that was Saturday. I was better on Sunday.
No, I think it was Saturday that you were sleeping.
Yeah, Saturday, yeah.
Probably during Ross's talk.
There's Ross.
No, it's not here.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, the general business that we've got, next month our meeting is on the 11th of November at Noble Numismatics. So I dare say that Noble's giving us an update on the numismatic marketplace and show the highlights of his upcoming, or his next auction. So I think the next auction is probably going to be towards the end of November.
Actually, Monday we meet there. Wednesday is the viewing, so it's really early this time.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the auction is a week later, the following day, 8 days after our meeting. So it's early this
Oh,
year.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Right.
all, is that 7:30
Okay, so-
or 8?
So that he should have all the
Yeah,
catalogs.
seventh. It doesn't say here, but it will be 7:30 at Nobles because
Yeah.
they like to get away.
Yeah,
So
7:30.
yeah, try and make it by 7:30. Yeah, when you send out your reminders, maybe you highlight 7:30 for Matthew.
Definitely.
7:30.
Everyone knows it's 7:30. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I want to get away early too, because I'll probably be working there the following days.
The Anda Money Expo is on at Town Hall on the 26th and 27th of October. That's Saturday and Sunday, starting at 10 a.m. on both days.
Oh,
Right now, the ANS has 3 tables and 4 display cases. But Rod is taking names for volunteers to man those tables. And if you're going to spend a bit of time at the Anda Fair,
Take a
try
display.
and bring along a bit of a display so you can put in the display case so that as people come along, you can talk about your display and if you want to sell it, they probably would buy it if the price was right. But I don't think we're supposed to be selling things. Oh, we do sell things.
We sell our medals and
the
things.
The ANS medals and the books and stuff like that, which we're
couldn't
allowed
do
to
it under the table instead of on top.
Yeah,
Do it on top.
fair enough.
Doesn't matter.
So if
The
you're
thing
interested,
though is the Royal Australian Mint has a pop-up shop there as well, so you can get the $2 coloured
$2
coins for
coins
the
and
police
stuff like that.
and for the remembrance.
Yeah, so they'll be there too. And you mentioned that the post office is going to be there too.
No,
No, not the post
no,
office.
it's not the post office. It's both Royal Australian Mint and Perth Mint.
Perth Mint.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there's something about the post office in the ad in yesterday's paper.
Going to be at
The
the
post
fair?
office is going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Really? Well,
Good.
it sort of stands to reason because, like, as you probably know, that the Australia Post has got this dollar for dollar coin exchange. With the alphabet on it. Yeah, the new dollar coins that Australia Post are issuing have got the alphabet on it. So you can have A, you can have B, C, D, and they're issuing all different letters week by week. So 2 weeks ago they had the A letter, the F letter,
AFM, I think it was. AISFM.
and all sorts of stuff. And then the second week was a different set of 6. This
And
week
today
there's-
was 8.
There's 8 coins with different letters on them, right? But the trouble is, a lot of people got the coins in the first week, and they found that it was so difficult to get them. You have to buy something at the shop. Right? You have to buy something, and that's the problem. You can't just go in there, and what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to give you the change with the new coins. See, so like what I do is I go in there and I buy a $1 stamp, and I give them $5
$10.
or $10. Well, yeah, I tried that, and they wouldn't be in it. They gave me
Warringah
$5.
Mall was very useful. When I went to Manly Post Office, the guy would only give me 2 coins. He said, "Oh, we're only supposed to give 1." So I said,
Yeah.
you know, bugger you. So I was told that Warringah Mall was pretty good, so I went down to Warringah Mall. I bought the thing that I was going to buy anyway, so that was fine. This express envelope that I
Yeah.
use quite regularly. And so I said, "And can I have the coins?" And she said, "Yeah." And I didn't have to ask her how many. They had the box there with all the different letters on them, so they'd already pre-sorted them, and she just took 1 from each and gave me the 6. No fuss.
Yeah.
I gave her the money and I left. It was nice and quick. Today when I went in, because they get the new stock on Monday, so I had to make sure I get it. So this afternoon I was there. I bought my next express envelope, and I gave the lady a $20 note, and I had $9.60 change coming, and I said I want the coins, but she frosted out of the till. But she gave me all, and she gave me 9 of them. So she gave me 2-letter Ks. I said I don't mind doubling up, so
Yeah.
she said, "Okay, here you are. You can have 2-letter Ks. So I've got a spare.
Yeah.
Got a swap."
No, that's better. My understanding was that you took your chance and what you got in your change.
Well, you do, but
Yeah.
some post offices are fussy, and some of them, like the one in Warringah Mall, are easygoing because they know once they push the bloody lot, they don't have to worry about it. It's all gone. Sorry, it's all gone.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
you know,
I mean, I thought you might not get the coin. You know, you get your change, but you might not get one.
Oh yeah, well you
oh,
got you got
if
to
you
be a
ask
bit,
for it, you
gotta be,
you will.
you got to be a bit forward. You have to sort of say, and I
Can I
want
have the
the
coins?
dollar coins,
Yeah.
right? But the trouble is with the post offices, you know, if you get a friendly person serving you, you go back a few days later and that person's not there, and then you get the nasty postmaster or something like that, and he says no, you only get 1. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
The same thing happened in Woolworths with the new $2 coloured coin.
Yeah.
I couldn't just go to the inquiry centre and say, "Can I exchange a $5 note for the coins?" I said, "Oh no, you have to buy something." So I went in, I bought something, and sure enough, you have to ask, "Can I have the new $2 coloured coins?" And I went twice, and they were quite easy to open the packets and give me the change in $2 coins.
Yeah. When I go to Woolies, I'm usually buying the little pack. There's a pack as well that was sold for $3, so
Yeah.
I wanted 3 packs. And then I said, "Oh, and can I have some of the $2 coins?" And she said, "Yeah, how many do you want?" Yeah, I'll take 7, thanks.
Now,
Well,
just
it's the
get
same with those little shop things at Coles, you know, the wife and daughter would collect them, so that's how long they say, "Oh, you spent $59,
$30,
you're only allowed 1 for every $30, you know, and other people say, "Yeah, here's a handful."
Yeah. Yeah, Woolies, they give you the seeds.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Wife and
getting
daughter
back to the
collecting
end
those
affair, if the Australia Post is actually there, it's at the end of the cycle with this thing, because for the people that couldn't be bothered to go to the post office every week or every day to get 1 coin, you can buy the actual card that the coins fit in, fully populated, at
Can you?
the end of the 4 weeks.
Cycle. Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
there's a good chance that if the Australia Post is at the end of fair, which is the end of that 4th week,
So they might have the full cards.
you might have the full card there. But you will be paying more than $35. So the card costs $9, and then you've got $26 in $1 coins, so it's $35.
Yeah, the mint shop is selling it too. Royal
Yeah.
Australian Mint.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, so you probably find, and somebody did mention something about the fact that a fully populated card is going to cost you about $45. So you pay an extra $10 just for...
I wouldn't keep the coins in that
I
card.
wouldn't keep the card,
Yeah.
No.
For a start, the plastic doesn't look that good and you pop it in,
Yeah,
but the
and the
top of the coin is exposed
still exposed.
to the print.
Yeah,
So, you know, in a year's time, after sitting against all this printing ink, you wonder what the coin's going to look like.
yeah.
So
So
what would be the extra $10 for?
Profit.
handling, handling and
But you're
profit.
saying you're already paying $9 up for the card.
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
you're
but
saying
it
another
means
$10 on
means
top of that.
that was the $9 you would have spent buying the $1 stamp.
oh yeah. You know, but you know, you like, well, I use stamps anyway, so you know, it's not a problem. But yeah, so what I'm sort of getting at is that you can actually buy a fully populated folder. It's quite a nice looking folder. It's an A5 size.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite nice, but yeah, it's going to probably cost $45 plus. So, but you know, if you haven't already started getting those dollar coins, well, forget about it because you're not going to get the first.
The first 2 weeks are gone.
First 2 weeks are gone.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I suppose you could buy it on the open market, but then you'd be paying triple. You know.
Deal's 11.
Down is 11 next week for $60 or something.
All right. So anyway, as far as the end affair is concerned, if you're interested in going to the end affair,
Let me
see
know.
Rod. Rod will get a name tag made for you. You can, and then you get in for free.
Then you get
So
in early.
you usually
get
got
it
to
for
get
free.
in to get your name tag, or
Yeah, just say
Just
I'm
say-
at the A&S desk and get in there. It's,
Get in
you know,
early.
it's the usual,
But
yeah.
usual landing
like
thing that
as
they
per
put on.
last year, the end affair didn't
And
cost
then
you
they'll have
anything.
one of us sitting on the front door taking the gold coin anyway. So.
Yeah, it's a gold coin donation, so you can still
You
put
might
that in
get some
if you want.
collectible items there.
Yeah, but they put it in the bloody gold coin
Well,
in,
you can have a
in the
pocket
thing.
full
Yeah.
of pop 'em out.
And the first time when I was sitting there, and it was just a, sort of an open jar, I was taking the coins I wanted, putting the money back in, you know, in my $20 notes and $20 worth of
Well, you
coins.
can do
Yeah.
that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end affair. You know, as I said, 26th and 27th of October, end of this month. So yeah, Sue Rod. We have the ANS conference on the 6th and the 7th of June 2020. Right, if you plan on attending, make your reservations with the Sanctuary Resort. Yeah, Rod negotiated a good deal for
Well,
the
it's
attendees.
a fair deal because it's a long weekend, so,
Yeah.
you know, it's sort of the best deal that we could get.
Okay. Registration fee for the weekend for the conference is $150. It covers teas on both days, yeah, morning tea, afternoon tea, and the Saturday night dinner.
Plus the medal. Plus
And the
there's
medal.
a special
Yeah.
cook medal that's for the conference.
Yeah. So have a think about that. All right. Rod will start taking registration fees or payments in January 2020.
Yep, so I don't need it yet, but come January, if you're on there, I'm going to say, you know, send a direct deposit or pay us
Yeah.
so that we have all the money by May, so I know the catering to tell them, because, you know, they charge us so much per person. And I noticed at that conference yesterday, there were 3 name tags still on the table.
Mm.
So those are obviously people that said they were going,
Mm.
didn't turn up, and since we paid when we arrived,
Mm.
that's 3 that they
Didn't
would
pay.
have ordered food for and be out of pocket.
Didn't pay.
Not very satisfactory. So that's why we always collected in advance.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if you turn up at the last minute, that's fine too, because we just tell the
Mm.
people, you know, add one more. No problem. But you
Okay.
can't say take one off because you don't know if they're coming or not.
And as we've been pointing out that the ANS conference, you know, we're sort of trying to make a bit of a theme of the 250th anniversary of Cook's Landing. So, yeah, mind you, there's a couple of people that I've been speaking to lately about what's going to happen next year as far as festivities with Cook's Landing, and they all seem to be ducking for cover. They really don't want to talk about it, simply because of the Indigenous situation. And I thought,
It happened, why change history? History is history.
That's right, it's happened, and
yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, but why would you celebrate the day you were invaded?
Well, I mean, they can celebrate it. No, nobody's forced to celebrate it. If you want to go to work, nobody's stopping you.
but I think it's
Invasion Day. When the first boat people turned up. The boat people was a bit later.
But strictly speaking, Invasion Day was January 26, 1788, well, not 1770 when Cook landed at Bognor Bay.
Precisely.
he started the ball rolling.
Yeah. I mean, James Cook was just mapping.
He was just
Mapping.
mapping the place, that's
Yeah.
right.
But will we still be alive because global climate change?
Well, just go and stick your head in the sand.
Personally, I think the Aboriginals, let's face it, the colonists weren't that good. I mean, there were a lot of massacres and things. But if it wasn't the British here, it would have been the Indonesians, and God help them if the Indonesians were.
Or the Chinese.
All Spanish.
Oh, hang on, the Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a bit late, but they're coming.
Anyway.
So anyway, I suppose I'll keep you informed about. Our theme at the ANS conference is going to be sort of.
Yeah, be Cook.
But
It's
around
everything.
But,
Whatever anybody wants to talk about, we're happy to listen.
Yeah, it's not going to be, it's the displays and everything else are not going to be, it can be anything other than Cook. So I'm sure that David can't display too many Cook memorabilia. All his collection is pre-Cook's age. So
No, Cook was later than the medieval period.
Yeah.
They discovered chronometers by then, which enabled him to be able to map accurately.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, for those that haven't been to the conference before, I'd really sort of recommend that you give it a try this year, next year, because
Do it while it's still there.
we have-
Because I don't know how many more years the conferences will go, because we're all just getting old. Another 5 conferences, it will be another 10 years old, and we don't know we'd have the numbers to.
we'll all
run
be
it.
catching the train up to Coolsarva because we won't be allowed to drive past, more than 2 kilometres from our household.
Well, maybe there'll be self-driving cars that'll be sold.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we'll have self-drive electric cars by then.
I need new hearing aids by then. So.
All right. So anyway, that's the ANS conference. Now, is there any other general business that we want to talk about? No. The IBNS conference in the past weekend was, I think it was quite well attended. Yeah, there was some
There's about 30 odd
people there. That,
IBNS does well though, because IBNS has 3 Australian chapters. They have a Sydney chapter, a Melbourne chapter, and a Perth chapter, and they rotate. So there were 4 guys from Perth there, and there was half a dozen from Melbourne. There must have been 30 odd there. So it was quite good,
Yeah.
Rossi gave a talk on Saturday. He didn't turn up on Sunday.
yeah.
Didn't turn up tonight, neither.
But other than that, the talks were quite varied as well. Some of the talks were about little-known countries, like the Eastern Bloc countries, and which I thought to myself, well, why would you sort of collect those sort of banknotes when they look like a bit of paper with a photocopy on it? And but the way they conducted their papers and research was quite interesting, because even though one of them was Turkmenistan, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, right? Those things, you always
Andrew
sort
Randall
of-
gave the Kazakhstan one,
Yeah, but anyway, it was sort of a situation where you thought, you know, these banknotes are pretty plain. But what he did when in his presentation was he gave you, the design factors, how many varieties there were, the amount of notes that were issued, and different signatures, and he really went into it rather than just sort of saying, well, here's my banknote collection, and everybody looked at them. He spent 20 minutes talking all about these little banknotes, and I thought it was quite good. They always sort of also included a fair bit of history of the actual country, the turmoil that they have in the country, and especially around the Middle Eastern area, they tend to sort of conquer each other quite regularly. And
Well, there was a guy called Graham Owen gave a talk on Kraslia, and he had no idea of when he started he thought it would be quite a simple little thing. And as he got into it, he realised these people were fighting those people who were fighting, and both of them were fighting somebody else, and all this sort of stuff, and it was just, it was just how much, especially how much happened in the 1990s, all within about 10 years.
Yeah, so at the end of the talk, you were so much more informed about that particular little country, and I thought that was quite good. And we had the pre-decimal Australian banknotes. We had the Scottish commemorative notes that Trevor Wilkins loves.
And the other guy from Perth talked about any banknote that had North Scotland on it. Not just Scotland, it had to be North Scotland. Yeah. Quite interesting.
It was quite interesting. So, but then again, that's what conferences are all about. And again, getting back to our conference, it's the same thing. Like you'll go there and like one of our members from Queensland will decide to talk about something, and you'll think, gee, I've never really thought about that. That country and the coins that it was issuing. That era, that the coins were manufactured, or how they were manufactured and everything else. So you get a lot of small snippets of information at conferences, and I think that's what really sort of makes it work for me.
Our new member John Kennedy's going to be giving a talk this time.
Is
He didn't come last time because he was teaching in Griffiths or wherever it was. But he came the time before.
Yeah.
He was a member of the public that came to our conference, and he enjoyed it. He lives up the Foster sort of way, and Tuncurry I think he lives at, and he enjoyed it that much that he became a member. That was nice. But he's coming to this one, and he's going to give a talk, so that's good.
What's his interest? Do you know?
I think it's on GB.
Oh.
It's I think it's Great Britain, but he told me the title. I put it on the website, so look at the website, it'll be the title of the talk.
Yeah, we did actually, I did, however, there was one of the IBNS Sydney chapter members sitting in front of me, and you could tell that he was quite new to being in a society or a club, and I got to talking to him, and because even though he worked in Sydney, he lived in Brisbane, and I said, well, if you're getting interested in numismatics, fair enough, he's in banknotes and that now, but I dare say he's probably got coins as well. And I said to him, well, do you know that the Australian Numismatic Society have meetings up in Brisbane? He said, really? And I said, yeah, and that's why I asked you for that card. But anyway, I've got his name, Andre Curtis.
Did you give him the website?
No, I've got his email address, so we can send him all the details.
Okay.
So there's a potential new member that we probably got on the weekend as well.
He's the guy that said he became interested because he went to an ATM and got a stack of brand new notes, and he was able to sell them for a $20 profit. He thought, geez, this is bad.
Yes, that tickled his fancy when he made a profit out of these new notes and running numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he went straight back to the ATM, but then he got a jumbled set of mixed notes after that.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I suppose we always use the opportunity to try and drum up new members, and you know, that's why we go to our end affairs and why we go to conferences and you know, sort of talk about the benefits of becoming an ANS member. So that's what
Yeah, we normally get 1 or 2 new members at the AND affairs, and you know, people like Ian Sizeland, he sort of joined 2 years ago at the AND affair, and he sort of participated quite regularly since. So it's good to get an active member like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Did we end up getting any from last year?
Don't think so.
Don't think so.
No, I don't think we did any good last year.
All right. Well, if there's no other general business, our tonight's topic is members' choice. Have we got any takers? Okay, we'll start with John, because he's got a box full of stuff there.
Well, there's not that much in it.
It's the cake.
Okay.
Any box?
No. What it is, yeah, we'll start with this one. Many years ago, 1981 to be exact, when I was in England, I saw these for sale. The Royal Wedding. And Charles and Diana are still on these and still together on this bottle. And that started me collecting Coca-Cola bottles, and I've got a big collection of them. I didn't bring them all here. In fact, the only other one I brought was this one, just because it's Greek. It's got Greek writing on the back. You wouldn't tell from... When I was there years and years ago, they actually had it in Greek on the front. But then they've changed it when I went back there and collected, about 4 years ago, no, 6 years ago now, Jesus. They've got Greek writing on the back. So that's all I brought for Coca-Cola bottles.
They call it something different than
No, they
Coca-Cola,
call
do
it
they?
Coca-Cola. Everybody calls it that. They might pronounce it differently. In China, apparently, it's Coca-Cola or something.
Yeah, holo.
Yeah.
Holo. Ho-ha, holo.
But you can always tell, no matter what script it's in, you can always tell whether it's Coca-Cola. And when I went overland to Europe, wherever I went, you could always recognise Coca-Cola, Barter Shoes and Kodak. You could always see, no matter what the script was, the styling was all exactly the same.
That what used to be the story about the guy describing it like that. And he
Now,
said,
I've got to
Coca-Cola!
We've got another
Well,
name for that.
now I've got to remember how this thing opens. But it's a transformer. Oh, that's right, you get this to that. Well, it looks like you might not get to see it, because I haven't opened this for a long time. I'll try and work it out later. But anyway, the pride of my collection isn't a Coca-Cola bottle. It's, some of you might remember these. And I kept this one because it came empty. It's still sealed.
A stubby.
I thought, should I take it back and demand my money back? And I thought, hang on, I can keep this and add it to my collection of bottles. And no one in the world will ever have another one like that. So that's there as well. And then something else I do is every year I go and collect one of these things from the City to Surf. And that's the one I got. That's the one I got this year. I didn't run it.
I was going to say, what was your placing?
About last, I think. There might have been 2 people finished after me, I'm not sure.
Oh, so you did actually go in it.
I did go in it, yeah, you don't get it unless you go in it.
So you
And
walked
I
it.
wasn't sure I was going to get the medal, I wasn't sure I was going to finish in time. It took me over 3 hours, nearly 4. But I got it.
What did the taxi cost?
The taxi, there wasn't any taxi. After that, I had to I had to hang around for hours waiting to get out of there to get a bus. You know, I don't know if you've ever been there or seen the scenes at the end. There's queues for hours to get a bus out of you couldn't get a car in there. There's no way you could get a car in there. Or a
Quicker
cab.
to walk up to Bondi Junction.
You can walk up the Bondi Junction. Well, you can do that after walking the city. So, I could years ago. I could actually run it and then walk up to Bondi Junction. But those years are long. It's not that far when you're young enough. But those years are long gone for me.
Not when you're bucketed.
Yeah, and at my age, you get buggered much quicker than you used to. But anyway, but I've been going in them since 1974, I haven't gone in every single one since that time. But,
So why didn't you bring the whole set and show us? That would have been a interesting.
Too heavy to
interesting
carry.
No, it wouldn't actually, but yes, maybe I should next time, I don't know. But I haven't got a full set, unfortunately, because...
Well, no, but the sets that you have, the sets
But
are
I
the
have
ones
the
that
ones
you
that I've got, yeah.
participated. Yeah.
Which one are you missing? So I've got one, I think it's 2010. Is it?
Actually, that might be one of the ones I'm missing. There was a
I picked it up, so I don't know where I picked it up, somewhere on the line.
Oh, yeah? Well, I wasn't sure I was going to finish this year. Normally what you can do, a couple of years ago, when it's 2013 was the last one I went in before this one. And you could get your names printed on the back if you paid extra when you're enrolling. I wasn't sure I was going to finish this year, so I didn't pay for that. So now I'm going to have to work out how to get someone to engrave it for me.
You know, this one is not engraved, it's like it's place and time.
Yeah, that's all. Well, this has got my name, and it hasn't got my place, but it's got the time. And I did it in 2 hours, 2.5 hours then. It took me 3.5 hours, and then 3 hours 40 minutes this year. So it's not as impressive by
You're
any
supposed to
means.
improve.
So what was the place that you got?
Like I said about 87,000 or something like that.
There's not that many people that
So
go.
There are about 80,000 going in.
80,000.
Yeah.
they have to limit it.
This year, they actually, after a certain date, you can't enter. And like it's full.
Yeah, well, if you're at the back of the pack, by the time you start walking
Yeah, people
down
have
William
already
Street,
finished.
That's
the front runners are finished.
yeah, that's exactly right too. By the time I started walking, the front runners were on their way home. But it's not an excuse for doing a late time, because for many years now they've had like some sort of electrical tag on you. This year they had it on the bib that you wear. So it doesn't start timing you until you cross the start line.
Right.
So you can't say, well, there's an hour to add there because I was late getting across the start line. It doesn't work anymore.
Oh,
Well,
You
that's-
might be able
that's
to make
fair.
money out of that one, you got 87,000, because there could be people out there want the medal with the biggest number. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Put it on email and try it.
Yeah. Next time, try to work out a radar number or block number. You know, sort of
You don't,
44444 or something like that.
you don't get a choice.
So from what
You
you're
don't get
telling
a
us,
choice.
so from what you're telling us, you weren't the guy who recently smashed the 2 hours for the marathon.
He's under no threat from me whatsoever.
Exactly.
No threat at all. Do you want me to put them here or leave them up there?
No, it's fine.
That's a big area of collecting Coca-Cola, you know. It's huge.
Yeah, I
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
All their memorabilia.
Only the glass is cracked.
Yeah, the glasses.
That's no good.
I've got a couple
That was about,
of their lighters, cigarette lighters.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of their lighters
It's a
too.
huge area of collecting.
It's big business, the Coke stuff.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, it's in a frame, yeah.
All right, David.
I wouldn't have volunteered this if I realised that I'd had to come in by public transport today, but quite a heavy book I've got. That's the main thing I want to show you about. Coins minted by the Knights in Malta. Anybody sort of peripheral collect Maltese coins? And okay, well, you won't be rushing to buy this book there because it is an expensive book. It's written by a man, John A. Gatt, who happens to be of Maltese extraction, born in Malta actually, and but came to Australia at the age of 18 months as a baby, and lives in Melbourne. He's a member of the NAV, which is our sort of Victorian sister association, and he tells a story that he started collecting Australian coins when he was a kid, and his grandfather came over from Malta with a few old Maltese coins and immediately put aside the Australian coins and decided he was going to collect coins of his cultural heritage, specifically the Knights of Malta. Now, I don't know if you know how the Knights associated with Malta and how they got there and all of that, but during the Crusades, this Knights Hospitallers, as they were called then, patron saint St John the Baptist, formed to fight the infidel in the Holy Land, and of course, the infidel won and knocked them out of the Holy Land. They, tell a long story short, they ended up in Malta. And it was allowed for them to rule Malta as basically absolute rulers, which they did. And they got there in 1522 and 1523, a bit later, maybe 1530, because it's been a bit of time getting where they were before. And ruled then till 1798. So, you know, during the period of from Henry the Eighth up to the period of George III, and so that they had an absolute monopoly on coinage, and they ruled as princes. They were elected position, the ruler was elected position of the Grand Master, and it says often on the coins the title, whoever it is, MM, which doesn't stand for Malta. It stands for Magister Magnus, the Grand Master. Anyway, John spent a lot of time collecting stuff. He spent all his lifetime apparently, and he's an avid collector, so just like us, and not all that different in age, I believe. He's retired, but he had some pretty responsible positions. He's been very big in Rotary. A sample of the sort of coins, you know, he's got he spent years and years in museums overseas and looking at museum collection, private collections, and formed all these photographs and all the die varieties and everything. You would get, and it goes on and on. In fact, you know, starting from the very early, they're quite rare and difficult to get. They they had gold. I mean, typically copper, silver, and gold coinage, and the denomination system was a bit odd to start with. And I'll tell you what it is. You probably won't remember it or need to worry about it, but the smallest denomination of all in the early days, these were actually phased out when there weren't anything, was called the piccolo, plural piccoli. And it went that there were 6 piccoli to a grano, 20 grano to the tari, which was their basic unit, 12 tari to the scudi meaning shield. There was a big silver coin with a shield on it, and then that was it. That was the top of the denomination. And as it turned out, about, just to get an idea, a dozen, a gross of tari was equivalent to an English guinea. So the taris were more than a penny, more than an English penny. And that was the standard coinage of Malta all those years. I don't have any of the smaller ones, but I bought a pocket full, not pocket full, seven coins, just to show you how they went. Mainly of the 18th century, 17th century, 16th century, they're much harder, but you can get them with a bit of perseverance. One of the today, this time of year, of course, it's prime auction season in Europe. Autumn, everyone's come back from summer holidays or wondering what presents they're going to buy themselves for their collection. And there's lists and lists of auctions that are going on in Europe. One of the ones, there was a couple of ones I look at, but one's called Numismatic, which has got a listing of all the auctions. Great website if you haven't seen it, and it allows you to search. So I thought, all right, just type in Malta, search for Malta. Well, you believe these hundreds of auctions, hardly any Maltese coins at all. So they're not everywhere, but once again, they're not that uncommon either. All right, so it started by the Turkish Sultan expelling the knights from where they were, and they had to leave, Rhodes it was, they had to leave that island and they were allowed to leave because they threatened to blow up the whole city if they didn't, so the Turkish Sultan took that and allowed them to leave, and after a little bit of manoeuvring around and trying to beg for favours, they were granted Malta by the then Holy Roman Emperor. So that was how they got there. How did they get out? How did they disappear? Napoleon, on his way to his battle in Egypt, took the French army, called in at Malta and basically took over the place. Realised that the Maltese knights were a bit anachronistic, not in accordance with the French Revolution that they just had. So he said, we don't want you here anymore, and the French took over. Unfortunately, what happened then, by the by, is that the French ransacked the Grand Master's palace in Valletta and the treasures of the big co-cathedral there, put him on his flagship, went to the Battle of Egypt, landed his troops, Aboukir Bay, Admiral Lord Nelson sunk the flagship, all the treasure down to the bottom of the Mediterranean. Nobody has found it yet, so a lot of their treasure is still down there, the Knights.
Battle of the Nile.
I'll start with the last one actually, because it's the most impressive one. The Grand Master at the time when Napoleon's troops landed didn't know what to do, because the constitution of the Knights were they were never to fight a Christian army. No, they were there to fight the Islam, the troops of the Muslims, which they did very successfully. But this is a big, what they sometimes call the Maltese dollar. Ferdinand von Hompesch, he was the German last Grand Master of ruled Malta himself. You can see the big Maltese cross on his breast there. And no, he was a bit of a hopeless case. He just sat round and dithered while the French soldiers went berserk in both islands, Gozo and Melita. And just to flick it over to the other side if you can, Rob. It's probably got the date there. Yes, it got upside down. Just the dates at the top there. Last year of Maltese. In one of the streets of Valletta, there's a plaque there. Napoleon was here in 1798, you know, what he did. But, now, it's interesting here, this is T30 underneath the date. You see 1798 above the crown? T30, that's a 30 tari piece. Now, given there were 12 tari to the scudo, this is 2.5 scudi. But essentially a British crown, English crown, that's what it would have been worth in those days, because it's silver. And you see the shield too, the coat of arms there. In the first and third quarters, there's a simple cross. That's the cross of the Order of the Knights Hospitallers, St John of Rhodes and Malta, give it its full title.
Now, the St John's ambulance,
the
David,
sorry?
St John's ambulance, is it from them or is it
indirectly.
indirectly?
You've got to remember that there was a Reformation while they were in task. These are a Catholic order, they were, but nevertheless the German and English sort of parts of them split off, and all that ended up in St John's ambulance. Anybody who wears a Maltese cross, they have a system now. If you can be affiliated to the Holy Military Order of Malta, which now has got its headquarters in Rome. They eventually ended up in Rome, and it maintains embassies, and as though it pretends it's a country, but it's not, of course. Anyway, but I'm just saying, on the other is always the coat of arms of the family of the Grand Master. So that sort of the jagged cross there, that's the Hompesch arms, and so you get a lot of different reverses because of that. But they're all the same if you think of the pattern. Okay, so that's 20, but they also had 2 scudi, which is actually 24 tari, so we're going back in time here now. And I haven't got any really old ones. Most of mine are 18th century, but 16th century and 15th century, sorry, 17th century. So here's a 2 scudi piece. How do I know? It tells us on the end, but this was, F means frater or brother. Emmanuel de Rohan, MM, Majestat Magnus. You wouldn't know it was Malta, except of course you turn it over, or you see the Maltese cross on his breast, turn it over and upside down again, 1596. So you see Hompesch wasn't there very long, because I think this is the year Rohan died and Hompesch was elected. Now he reigned 2 years till Napoleon came on.
Scudi
See
2.
down the bottom, S2, Scudi 2, 2 scudi.
Where were they minted, David?
Valletta.
Valletta.
Yeah, Valletta, the capital of Malta.
So it wasn't in
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah. It wasn't there when they got there. They found the Jean de Valette, one of the Grand Masters in the 16th century, who defended against the Turkish invasion in Malta. He began the city on the opposite side of the harbour, and they named it after him, Valletta. Okay, I've got a few smaller coins, interestingly enough. I've got a 1 tari piece, not so easy to come by. Tiny little coin, but remember it's a silver coin, and that was actually worth more than an English penny. The little diamonds there are Emmanuel de Rohan's thing. So, yeah,
Blow it up a bit.
just yeah, manual. It's got its name. Just to flick it over so you can see the T1 on it. One Tari. T1, yeah. And that's 1777.
What would the buying power? of
Before
one of those
Australia
things-
was, you know,
What would the buying power of one of those things have been?
about the same as a buying power of an equivalent English penny and a half, penny halfpenny. Not a lot, but it probably would have bought you a loaf of bread and a couple of other things too in those days, because they weren't rich, the Maltese, in those days. Remember I said that one Tari, that's that one, was divided into 20 grains or 20 grani, each of which was divided into 6 piccoli. So a piccoli didn't get you much. I tell you.
Well, I was thinking if a piccoli would buy you something, even if
It was
a
something,
chewing gum,
yeah.
that would buy you a lot more.
It probably did. It might have been a day's wage for a labourer or something like that.
Or
You
you
know?
120 times, isn't it?
Yeah, it's worth more than an English penny. And remember the English pennies of this period, they're like the cartwheel penny, that's a sort of similar date.
The crown, David,
Hmm?
they got the crowns, that was representing,
That
No,
that was a regal crown of the Grand Master.
oh, so he had a crown to be
He
a
had a crown.
master.
Yes, he was
Oh,
a
so
sovereign
we
in
thought he was
absolute monarchy.
He was out there, did he?
Yeah.
Really?
All right, I've got another coin of his also without a portrait. It's a bigger coin, and
I don't want to take it out in pieces.
this is a 6 Tari piece. So this is getting close to a, not quite a shilling, probably 9pence or something like that. Upside down. Yes, no, that's right. 6 Tari, manual to Rowan. It'll have the date and the denomination on the other side. Upside down. TVI
Should have read this.
has 6 Tari, 1780. They're all pretty old. I mean, you know, Cook's only just got back to England from his discovery of Australia at this point, pretty much.
Seems a bit odd though, he's using the Roman numeral on that one.
Yeah.
Whereas you got the actual...
Yeah, S2.
twos
big,
and
bit of a
30s
mix,
and whatever,
yeah.
Well, the dates in Arabic numerals too, yeah.
There's 3 more. We might as well have a look at these. The one is a gold coin. I think I might have showed this one before, but it's quite a nice one. And it's a 10 scooty coin. And gold one, yeah. SX, see the X Roman numerals, quite right. SX for 2. Non surrexit major. I think I asked you what that was before, but it's a quote from the Bible. Jesus talking about John the Baptist. He says, "None hath arisen better, greater." It's a direct quote from the Gospels. The Lamb of God there representing Jesus at St John's feet. And if you flick it over, it's got the date on it, 1763. Yeah, okay, so Cook's just planning his voyage at this stage and thinking about it. He hasn't left England yet. And here we are. This is the Manual de Pinto. It was a Portuguese one. I should say the order was multilingual, so all over Europe, pan-European thing, like United Nations it was. And they would elect the most worthy, they thought, of the various contenders who felt they could stand. They all had to be nobles, mind you, to become Grand Master or even to become a knight. So if Emmanuel, Pinto, MM, HSS, Jerusalem Holy Sepulchre, HSS, Hierosolima, Sanctus Sepulchris. Anyway, it's not a nice little coin, a little bit off centre, but heck. Now, a portrait coin. All were loved to wear wigs in those days, the 18th century. So this is a 4 Tari piece of Emmanuel Pinto, 1768. Quite a nice coin. This is one pretty coin. Similar legend. Flip over.
Get it in focus. Okay.
So
T4.
T4, And the date was on the other side, that's right, so Fortari. And last one, a predecessor of his. So these coins are all of the order of, around about the time of George the II, George the III. Here's one of George the First, this guy. Manuel de Villena. There was a hotel in Valletta, right in the middle of Valletta, lovely place it was, called the Hotel Villena, and named after him obviously. So this coin is of somewhat 1723 or something, it'll say on the back. Upside down. Crowns at the top. Does it say the date there somewhere? Yeah, 1723. George the First.
11 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
And there he's got the lines that there is his Villena. Well, both Villena and Pinto were Portuguese noblemen. Anyway, that's what they look like. Now just going back to the book, which is the whole idea is, as you see, you've got a lot more coins than I have. Fabulous website. If you want to look at it, you don't have to pay anything to look at most of the website. He does have a restricted area for those who bought the book, but this doesn't, it's got his whole collection. You can look at his whole collection on it, and all these, a lot of these coins from his collection, not all. You see there, these are granny. I haven't got a granny, but a copper coin that's got those sort of 5 crescent things, which are Pinto's, coat of arms. And it goes way back. Okay, so
Horseshoes, don't they? What are they supposed to represent, David? Those little horseshoe things on the shield.
no idea. They're you're right, crescents, or I'm not sure what they are. But just an emblem of the Pinto family in Portugal.
Pinto.
And,
Isn't he a horse Pinto?
but this is a later thing. Once upon a time, I didn't want to collect anything after 1500, but I thought, well, the Maltese Knights, they were almost a continuation of the Crusades, and so it was an interesting place, Malta. If you haven't been there, I recommend trying to get there. You probably only need to go there on the way to somewhere else, but it is nice. Very good. All right, I think that's
Thanks, Dave.
that's me.
Pat, did you bring something along, Pat?
Oh, if you want to. Well, just starting off where they finished there, and that's when Captain Cook came out on the transit of Venus. That's the coin. It's number 18 on the outside, and the the Endeavour on the other side. So that's one I picked up from here. I think I might have shown this one before.
Your first fleet medal.
Which is the medal of the first fleet. It just Arthur Phillip with the 11 ships of the first fleet. There's I don't know whether they come apart or not, but they're made that way. The 1788, the first fleet, Captain Arthur Phillip, and the map of Australia, and the 11 separate ships at home. I have what's the name on the photo of the first ship, the first fleet, and all the people that were on each of the boats there, and what they brought out with them on the first fleet, as far as everything else goes. This is the box. They come in: Mutiny and the Rebellion, 1789, 1808 and 1854. Mutiny on the Bounty, the Rum Rebellion and the Eureka Stockade. So it's only just incidents in the early part of some of these that I don't think I've even opened, or haven't opened. You'll take them out.
Oh, there.
Yeah. Eh? Yeah, that's the Mutiny on the Bounty, which is
Fletcher Christian and Captain Bligh. Huh?
Captain Bligh, yeah. And the next one also is to do with Captain Bligh. He was the one for the rum jungle, and he was sent out here to curb the English army that were selling all the goods and everything that came into the country. They monopolised on it, and he came out here to destroy their particular adventure. And the last one is Eureka Stockade, just the there. It's only the Queen on the back there, just ordinary. What's the name of the Queen?
Elizabeth.
Oh, Elizabeth, yeah.
QE2.
Yeah, I'll just put them there, I'll grab them later.
That was something that was mentioned at the conference when they were showing these commemorative notes. And they showed a commemorative note for Queen Elizabeth's 25th anniversary and 50th anniversary in Scotland. But she was only QE1, so they didn't have QE2 there, because the first Queen Elizabeth wasn't Queen of Scotland. So that was yeah, that was quite interesting.
So what's the date on those, on the Queen side?
2019. 2019. Or 6102 if you'd like to read it this way.
6107.
Thanks, Pat.
Finished?
We have, I imagine, quite often seen a two-headed penny. And this, generally, they are two heads of the same king or queen. This one is a little different. On the obverse reverse, it's Edward VII, very nice portrait, I think it's an English penny. But on the other side, Arthur Phillip, Governor of New South Wales. It's machined into the coin itself to give the effect of a two-headed penny, but in fact, it's two different heads. This is Ridgewood plaque, and if you can see the insert, it's the original insert that was used for 1789/1 of the Australian medallion series listed by Les, which is, the original is quite rare, you don't see it that often, and I couldn't afford to buy it even if I did see it. It's been copied several times. The most recent one I think was for the bicentenary, and even that is expensive. This version shows, like all the others, shows hope attended by peace, art and labour, and it's 1789. Ridgewood, made in England, but it is the Australian version of the original medal itself. Now, this tin that says Murray's, most of us, some of us, have at least looked once, or maybe twice, into a dealer's scratch box. Occasionally you find something that you think you might need for your collection. This is the first and only time so far I actually bought the whole box. It wasn't from a coin dealer. Inside were pre-decimal tokens, numbered pieces, fourpences, sixpences, shillings, 2 shillings, and then we get 10 shillings, and then we get £1 tokens. And I don't know about anyone else, but I very rarely have seen a £1 token. Also, there are coins from the Republic of Chile, 10 cents, and also the token for in memory of the good old days. But what's unusual about some of them is that they are over-coded with, in texta, 50 cents and $2 in texta on the code on the pieces themselves. And I was wondering, why would they do that? Has anyone got any ideas why they may do that?
Teaching kids?
No. I think that they were using all these tokens as poker chips. And I was thinking, hang on, isn't that something dealers could do with those buckets of pennies that they can't get rid of? Get stickers in different colours, put them on the pennies and use that as poker chips. Yeah, it's an idea. But to see...
It's easier just to use poker chips.
Well, that's one way dealers could get rid of their buckets of pennies. But it was unusual. Some of the sixpences are for G.A. Miller and Sons. Some others are Miller and Morris. So I think that's an Australian organisation. But just to see so many in one box, to me, that was unusual in itself. Has anyone...
So they're all tokens, they're not the coin?
All tokens, as I said, the 10 centavos of Chile, and they are dated to the late 60s, 64, 65, 66 and 69. So it must have been formed just after decimalisation. But there's a hell of a lot of them. And like I said, I haven't seen all of that together in one big lump.
G.A. Miller punches out lots of badges. But the G.A. Miller and Moore.
Very different.
Not Morris.
Thank you.
So you got all those coins out of that tin, did you?
Yeah.
At a garage sale?
Sorry?
Garage sale? At a garage sale?
No, no.
Got him in.
But try just seeing the 10 shillings and the pound. I don't know, has anyone else seen them often?
Some of those
What
things
are they
like
made of?
Aluminium,
All right.
3 decimals.
I've seen them floating around singly, but
Yeah.
So the rest of the coins underneath are similar, are they?
Are all the same denominations.
Right.
Those dotted 2s and 1s, I've seen that somewhere before, but not in a bunch of
Yeah, like I said, you occasionally see them, single coins, but you very rarely see a big box full,
Yeah.
which was nice to find.
Start doing coin fairs and sell them, one at a time. It'll take you 50 years.
And you
Make
buy
up
that
little
too,
sets.
too. Or sell them in sets, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sell the sets. All right, Tony, nothing?
No.
Frank?
No.
Grant?
No, sorry. Couldn't think of anything.
Okay, listen, Peter.
It's a member
Peter's
choice.
got-
Anything.
Yeah, I know, I
Peter-
just couldn't think of it.
Peter's got a member's choice. Peter's decided to expand a bit on his periodic table that we spoke about at the beginning of the year. Considering that the periodic table, 2019 is the year of the periodic table, this is why Peter is still talking about the periodic table. I'll just read out to you what Peter has done over the past few months since we last spoke about this chart. Peter, with generous help from his daughter Claire, prepared a smaller poster for the February ANS meeting. Again, with Claire's generous help, she has prepared another poster on coins and coinage metals. So this is what this poster is all about. So, you know, like, it's quite a large poster, but yeah, somebody could grab the other side. So yeah, that's what she's prepared.
Could you show it to the camera
Yeah,
too?
show it to the camera. Okay. The earlier poster achieved two main
Thank you.
things. It celebrated the 150th anniversary of the periodic table and the work of Dmitry Mendeleev, who did much of the early investigation into chemical periodicity and devised a periodic table. He noted that gaps occurred in some element groups, and then he successfully predicted properties of these missing elements. Now, okay, so he continued work on chemical periodicity until his death in 1907. His predictions and continual returns to periodicity cemented his position as father of the periodic table. Is that right, Peter? So you better sort of pick me up on anything else that you want to talk about, right? Okay. The first poster also showed some desirable properties of coinage metals, right? And that's what that was down the bottom. Down the bottom here, as you can see, yeah, the various metals. This poster
These are they're types of coins.
types of coins, yeah. That's a big word, Peter. I don't know what this word is. Recapitulates Mendeleev's importance. This is still the international year of the periodic table, and this is why Peter is talking about the periodic table. Peter's background is in
Chemistry, isn't it?
Chemistry.
Geology.
yeah, the periodic table. That's what Peter likes. You know, has really sort of, you know, had a lot to do with this periodic table over the past 10 months. It was at 2019 was the year of the periodic table, and goes on from the idea of a coinage metal to show examples of 8 types of coin. And is that the 8 types of coin, Peter?
Yeah,
They're the 8 types of coin. So you have the common elements, the alloys, the polymetallic, the plated, clad element coins, anodized and non-metallic. Okay, so that's what the 8 types of 8 examples, 8 types of coin. Now, Peter also brought along 3 recent acquisitions, 3 element coins. You're going to have to put the glasses on for this one. Hang on. This first one is rhenium. Is that right?
Rhenium.
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 Rhenium. Now this is a dense metallic element with a high melting point, second only to tungsten, and has the highest boiling point of all elements. It's quite a heavy little coin. So we'll just show that on the screen. And for those that are interested in the periodic table, there it is there, on the table. Okay, the next coin that Peter brought along is ruthenium, correct? Ruthenium? Now this is a hard platinum group metal. It's a very hard, brittle metal and occurs in nature mixed with other more precious metals, such as rhodium, platinum and iridium. It is used as a catalyst in industrial applications. The metal will not tarnish and is very resistant to many chemicals, including strong acids. The coin is brittle, so it should be handled with care. So this is the second one that Peter brought along.
Don't drop it.
Don't drop it. It'll break. It's what they make those little coins, you know, like where they make the coin and it breaks in half when you have a broken half. You use that metal. Is that right? Anyway. Okay, that's ruthenium. The next one that Peter brought along is a nickel-silver alloy. It's a nickel-silver coin. It's a copper-nickel-zinc, 65, 80, 18 and 17%, which is named for its colour resemblance to sterling silver. Right, I'll just show you that.
John? There's one.
You want
Peter
to?
brought along for me.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Right, I can talk about that one too.
yeah.
Where's the sheet?
Huh?
Oh, that one there, okay. Resemblance to sterling silver. It is used in some musical instruments. Is that right, Peter?
Yeah.
And as a base metal for silver-plated silverware. It has other industrial uses, including a common use as keys. So what would they use it in musical instruments?
Things like bass. My daughter had a bass clarinet. That was all that metal.
Really? Okay.
And
Oh,
don't
the
use it.
actual little keys.
Yeah.
Don't use it for trumpets or xylophones, for cymbals,
Yeah.
but for some they can.
Okay, so that's the nickel-silver alloy. This other coin that Peter brought along, which he kindly gave to Pat, is cobalt. And cobalt is a very hard, they're all very hard, aren't they? So anyway, the hard magnetic metal, it is similar to nickel and iron in appearance and magnetism. Cobalt is used in high-speed cutting tools. So how do they compare to diamond? You know, like cobalt.
Much softer than diamond. They're quite soft.
Diamond is the hardest, isn't it?
Yeah, diamond is.
Okay. Okay. Its minerals impart a brilliant blue colour to glass and pottery, and has been used since ancient times. Cobalt is usually recovered as a byproduct of refining other high volume production metals. Oh, okay. What's that?
That's a bit of cobalt.
That's a bit of cobalt.
That's a bit of
So
metal.
what are you going to make out of that?
Well, my grandson's named Cobalt.
Is it?
Yeah. And
So you're going to give that to him?
huh? Yeah.
Okay, right on. Interesting. So there's a little 99.9% cobalt. Is that right?
But your grandson is 100%, isn't he?
All right. So that's Peter's little talk. So let's thank Peter for his contribution. All right. Now you can take photos of your own stuff.
Indeed.
Yeah, look, by all means, have a look at the periodic table again. Yeah, Peter brings this along, and that's just a black and white version. Black and white version of it, yeah. So it's quite a nice looking thing. Yeah, when you consider it's even got Australian coins in there.
I've got that one.
You got that one?
Yep.
And yeah, tourist dollars, any coins,
The only one.
koalas, platinum. Oh look, the ANA Gateway Bridge, the ANS Gateway Bridge. All right, have a look at that after the meeting, and I'll leave that there with the sheet. Rod, you want?
I got a few. I showed you this some time ago. It's the medal I was given for putting a banknote display on at the expo at Hurstville. So because I put that one frame up, everybody who had even mine wasn't a competitive one, it was just information, but all the others were competitive. And Ed gave me that one for participating in it. One of the Stamp Club members there collects postcards, and he put a postcard display on. His name's Des Beachy, and Des was given this medal as well. Now, you probably can't see it very well, but the kangaroo on map on mine is a sort of goldy colour, and the kangaroo on map on Des is a silver colour. Now, with the APF, the Australian Philatelic Federation, when they produce these medals, they produce them in mass. And if you look at that side, they're all similar. But when they go to different competitions around the country and they use the same medal, they have all these little kangaroo on map stamps, which were first issued in 1913, in the different colours, because the different prizes you win is sort of silver, large silver, vermeil, large vermeil, gold, large gold. And so having three different coloured maps, they can just stick it in that spot and they have the medal to present. And the names at the bottom isn't engraved, it's laser printed. Now, engraving medals, when you go to Mr. Minute and what next, cost you a fortune. You know, they charge, you know, like $1.80 a letter or something. Whereas with these laser printers now, they're quite reasonable. I think Ez said it costs less than $4 to have each of these ones done. So I'm thinking when we go to Coffs Harbour with the big Cook medals, I'll have conference down one side, and at the bottom I'll have the person's name and Coffs Harbour 2020, like they have Sydney 2019 there.
Yeah.
So it specifies that that person attended, and that'll be the silver medal. And for the people who give a talk, it'll be the gold medal, and it'll be the same thing, their name there, because prior to that, I'll know who's going once I get their money, and and I know who's giving the talks. You know, and then I'll go and get the pricing, and if it's not too expensive, we'll have it named, so it's a little bit more personal. So that's the first bit.
So when you said that the kangaroos were different colours, Was that a mistake that the other person got the silver one?
No. He was awarded a silver medal, a silver,
The silver?
yeah.
Is there any
And
relation to North
mine, because I wasn't competing, I was given whatever, and obviously they had some gold rods to spare, so they threw a gold rod on
You got the
it.
spares.
Yeah. So, but when Des gave it to me last week, his one, because he said, I don't collect these, you can have it. I thought, oh, thank you. And when I look at it, I say, okay, there's 2 varieties, it makes it even better. You know how we always love collecting varieties. Anyway, my display, my items I'm talking about tonight are bimetallics, of course. Has to be bimetallic. But these are slightly different bimetallics. Put my glasses on and see what I'm doing. These are probably ones that most people haven't seen before. These are Brazilian, and they're from Pernambuco, which is northeast Brazil, and they're actually sugar tokens. So they're tokens that were given to the workers who were working at in the sugar fields and whatnot. So I don't know how much they were given, but a lot of these tokens, they were paid in the tokens, and they could only cash them in the company store. So the money stayed there. A lot of the companies up there were English. The English were pretty smart, and because they made these, I suspect this one is an English company as well, that they would have had these ones made. The number 100 is probably the money system at the times were in reis, so it was 100 reis, 200 reis. The Joanna, I think, was 12,000 reis or something like that. So it's, or 24,000 reis, yeah. So it wasn't a lot of money, but so that's the little 100. Then
Why would they bother going to bimetallic, Rod? Why were they bothered going to a bimetallic for something that's sort of, you know...
yeah, rather than a normal one.
Or anything, is it?
I don't know. Another German Booker.
The bimetal type situation is to sort of stop people from counterfeiting them.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it could be. It could be just to make it more difficult. So the slightly bigger one is the 200. Now it doesn't say any value, but I would assume it's 200 reis. That's what the value is. Again, it's CUCS. So I guess the last S stands for sugar something or other. Campania Uzuna Canister de whatever it is. So it's in Portuguese, but whereas the first symbol was fully like that shape, and the second one is the little cross shape. Then the next value that comes up is the 500. And again, the internal bit is again a different shape. They're bimetallics, eh? That lot, I've got another one from a different sugar factory, but about the same size, and it's also a 500, and it does seem to have the same shape in the inside. So the sort of looks like gold plating has worn off, but it's a different company. But again, it's a token. Unzina,
Yeah.
and it's a
Base
Rebbe
metal,
Paco.
is it
Yeah,
aluminium or something? Is it light?
yeah, they're fairly light. I don't think they're aluminium though. They're a bit heavy for aluminium. The next one is the 1000. And see, it's one side and then the other side. Those two look like they're forming an X, whereas this one, at least on that side, it looked like it's a plus sign. So again, it's once you have those ones, it's the position where they are when they're struck. Yeah. And the very last one I only have one of, which was the 2000 Reese, which is the larger one. So I must have got these 15, 20 years ago, and I've never seen them offered since. They're unusual.
They're all the same size?
No.
They're different
No,
sizes.
all different.
They're all-
Number on the bigger the-
That's a 2000 Reese. So I guess when the people are working in, I don't know if they're working in the sugar cane or they're loading bags of sugar or whatever, they're obviously paid in this currency, and this can only be redeemed in the company shop. So the company shop gets it back. The Americans. In North America, they had trade tokens, which I have also collected, that they produced from the 1890s to about the 1930s. Again, they're bimetallic trade tokens, so they're 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, everything up to $1. And again, people were paid in these tokens, and it had to be redeemed in the company shop. And I remember corresponding with one guy who said he can remember in his youth, this was some time ago, that he used to pick gooseberries or huckleberries or something or other in season, and they used to get paid in this, depending on how many punnets they managed to pay to work, and then they'd go and spend the money in the company shop. So that's how they made and kept the money
Yeah.
internally. With the American ones, there's quite a few thousand different companies that are listed, and I've got the Shankman book, but some of them are really hard to find. Actually, most of them are really hard to find. But when you get to places like Alaska and what next, and you get those ones, they're even harder because there's not many of the firms that use them. So I with the American trade tokens, I would have probably about 30, 40 different ones. I don't have. They go from 5 cents up to $1. I don't have all the values, but there. Again, it's an interesting series, but very, very hard to find. And when I first started collecting bimetallics, the sort of 1995, somewhere around there, when I was really keen for that sort of 10 years, I used to go on eBay and try and find them. Nowadays, I said, bugger it, I don't have them. That's it. I've got the ones I've got, there. But
Yeah,
I thought
you will find
tonight to show something different. Something different.
Yeah, very good.
That's it. Thank you.
But you will find that eBay these days is more in line with buying new stuff.
Yeah.
It's all buy it now stuff rather than in the old days where it used to be an auction, and you used to get all sorts of old stuff
Yeah.
that people used to just wanted to get rid of. So consequently, it's changed a lot over the years.
You going to put them side down?
Okay, because I was going to leave early, I didn't bring anything regarding it, but I will just mention a couple of things. Yeah, one of my collecting interests is still the gift cards. Right, I've probably got a few thousand of them now that I've collected over the years since I mentioned anything about gift cards to you guys. I'm sort of got to the stage where am starting to get duplicates of these things as well, but they're still coming thick and fast. You know, like more and more shops are actually using these little gift cards. It's even got to the stage where I know of a guy up over in America that I can actually get a program off him, and I can make my own gift cards now. so that's it. But yeah, the collection's growing rapidly, and yeah, some of the members know that I collect gift cards, and they whenever they come across a gift card that is has been fully used, so like I don't particularly want any money on the gift cards. I just want the expired gift cards, and once the expired gift cards, a lot of people just throw them away. So consequently, if this particular one is a generic one from Westfields, but with the likes of Coles, especially Coles seem to be the one that constantly putting out new gift cards. I think they're up to about number 435 or something like that, of different types of gift cards, and and they keep on bringing out new ones. Woolworths is not as enthusiastic about gift cards, and then all the other stores that have gift cards, they generally have the generic sort of gift cards, and they have the same thing year after year after year.
You got
So-
Dimmock's? Dimmock's, the bookstore, have you got there?
Yeah, I've got a couple of theirs, but they don't change it very often.
They have two or three. They have a sort of Christmassy one
Yeah.
and a birthday type one. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best gift cards that I've got, I suppose, is the one that my daughter gave me, because it was from Bunnings, and at that particular time, you could actually send a photo to Bunnings. They will put your photo on the gift card, and then you can send the gift. Then you get the gift card. Right? So I've got a picture of my daughter and myself on the gift card. So that's quite a special one for me. But all the other ones, you have issues with getting gift cards from different stores, because like I generally go there, and I always say to them, what's the minimum amount I can put on a gift card? And some of them say 5 cents. It's okay. So then you get all their gift cards, and like they put a total of 5 cents on it, which you never spend anyway. But you get the card. Now with Coles, I always put $5 on my gift cards when I get them from Coles, and then I go and do my shopping, and then I spend them, and then I keep the cards for nothing. So I get the card for nothing anyway. So sometimes I used to say early in the piece, I used to get a bit I don't know what the word is, but I used to always say, listen, I'm going to spend them anyway, so why not just give them to me? But because it's inventory, they have to sort of
Account for
put it through,
where
they have
it
to
is.
put it through their system, and when they put it through their system, they have to put a value on them. So the minimum amount at Coles, I put $5.
Is there any sort of catalogue of these things now?
Eventually I will, but there is no. I don't know of. I think there's about one other person that I know of down in Victoria that actually collects gift cards as well.
I collect cards. I mean, I've got
Playing cards.
all my bank cards and every card that's
Yeah.
ever been used. I have a whole bloody drawer full of these cards, which one day, I mean, things like bank cards, you've probably never heard of bank card.
Yeah, one of the things that I have got in when the banking fraternity, like Visa, when Visa first put out their cards, they had a really big presentation. I think it was done in Hong Kong, and a lot of banking people went to this presentation, right, and they were presented with the cards in this big folder, and I've actually got one of those folders now. So so it's another bit of a thing that I enjoy. But yeah, look, if ever you come across an expired gift card, think of me. All right. So that's and the other thing that I've got to sort of talk about is what do you call them, amusement tokens, I suppose. But this particular one is far from amusement tokens. It's more of like a gambling token, mainly because it was issued by Bally, Bally Gaming. So that is another one that I'm putting into my collection, thanks to Grant.
Should go in with this lot.
Yeah, you just put that on the screen and show that to them. It's quite. I've never seen that particular Bally token before, so it's quite a nice one. It's one of the good things about it. Like you always seem to sort of find things, and you've never ever seen it before. Like what we have with Maurice, with all these little tokens. Yeah, independent mint, high security token. I don't know why it's so high security, because you could probably stamp them out, 100 per minute or something like that. Yeah, so it's Bally Gaming. So that's another addition to my collection of tokens. Well, that's about it for tonight. 20 to 10, I'm going to fly. But I'd like to close the meeting. We're going to have our refreshments. And thank you all for coming. And don't forget, next month we're down at Noble Numismatics, 7:30.
You have time for a cuppa?
No, I better go. By the time I get to my car, it's going to be 4:10. So, and thanks. Thank you for attending. Did everybody fill in the attendance book?
Yep.
I haven't.
You won't get paid.
I won't get.
Come around and fill it in. And how do we turn that off?
You just push the button. You say yes. Okay.
Thank you. I've learnt.
I don't remember ever seeing it.
John, we'll get you to sign.
No, I think I've
I
got
was bitterly disappointed when I went back,
section.
because years ago, before I was
So
collecting,
you're not collecting Malta?
Oh,
and now it's not.
I don't think I've ever seen one of them before.
We have one of our members, Elizabeth.
Probably did, but I just don't remember.
She's
But I drank most of it.
she's now living in Malta, and she sent me an email saying she went to
I probably have seen it, but I just don't
that he
recall
put
it.
out on the book.
Oh, yeah.
It was over there.
Okay.
Yeah,
And he
but
said,
the,
it's very
I've got
interesting.
it in
Yeah, no, I'm
frame,
sure
take
he'd
a
be
colour
interesting.
and
I did invite him to,
Oh, yeah,
you
with the girl on?
Cyber conference.
the girl,
Oh, I got
Guys,
I can
years
visualise
ago.
what you're talking
If
about.
he,
Oh, I've got a few
does
coke
come
bottles.
and,
but
See you later, fellas.
give him
Gotta go.
oh, that's
Hey,
not,
John.
session or
Oh,
whatever, you know.
Thank you.
with
Thank
lots of
you.
time.
Thanks
That's all
for
right.
doing
Did you
it.
go all
Fill
right?
program filling up pretty quickly.
No problem. Any time, thank you. You know that.
Are you that Edward?
Yeah, we've still got a long time to go.
Coffs Harbour presentation. Let me know.
Yeah.
With all those plastic bags. Yeah. No? Yeah. Anybody going? Everyone look at these? Not really?
There's a shop in Brookvale that does it. I don't know if they actually cut or they just print, it's sort of laser printing. But yeah, it's a bloody sight cheaper than Mr. Minute when they engrave the medals,
you see on the top, no,
That's my lid.
huh?
That's my lid.
Oh, that's your lid. I was just wondering whether,
Yeah, they have a factory
where it fits. No, that's
that does
fine.
other
Yeah.
things, and this is one of the things they do within. I mean, I'm sure there's other places around.
I just wanted, I'd like to start looking, because I went to Mr. Minute to get the new ones, but they only do that piece as well, they all do the same style.
And you know the names of one next to that came up quite well. And I'm sure you can say whatever fonts you want and whatever, because it's all computerized. So.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, give us a reading called The Code of Sky. It's a book, it's a true story about a guy who in last year of high school sees Switchman, 1957 of the code. He decides for a science project he's going to do
They're no good to put on top of anything like that, do they? A little
And
they
they come with it?
put them,
But just to stop the surface from getting scratched, I would put it the other way around.
Put it on the bottom, between the paper and the...
that's what I was just saying, you know.
That's better.
No, they couldn't have been paid much. Because when the guy, when the certification were applied and they were allowed to go to they qualified to go into the capital city, the state was very, and compete there, the state prize. The whole town has trouble.
That's going to us, anybody want it? No.
Puts in to try and pay their fares and stuff, they can only afford to send one of the boys.
Right, water's all oil, guys.
But they must have had cash, because they could buy a bus ticket and pay for the accommodation, not only for one person.
Yeah.
It's a really good story actually, because it is a true story. The guy did go and become a rocket scientist, and he was one of the few people to get out of the town. And his father always hated him doing this, so he concentrated on something solid like working in the mine. He's 7 years after he left town, the mine shut anyway.
And he's a rocket scientist.
And he's a rocket scientist.
Earning big money.
So, but it came to mind because of, paying people, in those coins and stuff, or in those tokens, would have been a way to ensure that that town escaped.
That's
And that was the problem with these people in the town. Most of them couldn't get out because they couldn't afford to go anywhere.
That's right. There was that old song, if you remember, another
16
day.
tons, yeah.
Yeah, 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Yeah.
Yep.
I owe my soul to the company store.
Anyway, if you feel,
One morning when the sun comes up.
Yes. It was a good song. The number 99, wasn't it? Something like that. Yes, Coke has a lot of. If you collect Coke memorabilia, there's a hell of a lot of stuff.
There was a program on Foxtel,
the bottles, that's
who
memorabilia.
created the formula, but he was addicted to cocaine, and he ended up selling the company and getting very little for it, but the people who came after him made billions of dollars.
Yes. Coke is one of the companies that Warren Buffett invested in earlier on. He has a great.
Although they're now beginning to have a problem in the Arab world because it is American, and they just want to find another product that can be substituted for Coca-Cola because they don't want America taking their money.
There's one inside the European. Look, there's something up there.
I'm not a guy who takes stress these.
But they operated in Nazi Germany during the Second World War.
Yeah, that's where Fender came from.
Yeah, they got Fender.
John's gone, has he? John's gone?
Apparently,
He's gone.
the only
It's all right.
thing that had to change the
I had a fellow during the week
was that they had to reduce the
want to get rid of his,
in Coca-Cola because they were
want
selling
to
it
get
to
rid of all his coins.
children to get addicted to caffeine. Gee, I wonder what else they could get addicted to. Sugar.
And
My job is
the local bloke
There's the old room.
was going to give him 12 grand for him.
Countries going before this Coca-Cola
multi-millions here, and he didn't win all that.
executive country.
Well, I don't know.
Because the rumour was the CIA used the sales figures from Coca-Cola to see how American influence in the country was going. So when Vietnam, and they watched the sales of Coca-Cola in the south,
So you're going to
they
join
used
us one
locations
day?
where the camps where the GIs would go
Yeah, I'll do
to
that
buy,
anyway.
but then they were in cities where the American soldiers weren't going, and they used the sales of Coca-Cola, and as the war continued on, the sales continued to drop. They knew
Didn't get the job.
yep, it's time to bug out.
They also were drug runners for the local cartel, the CIA. So Air America was running drugs to keep the
Have you
Coca-Cola on side.
It's on cable, it's a show called Snowfall. Okay, what it's based on loosely is the contract where they were taking the drugs to get money to buy the guns for the Contras in South America who were fighting the communists. The CIA couldn't get money from the government, but under their guise of being the CIA, they went in and deals with the drug lords, put the drugs up to America through a private enterprise that was all CIA. They bring it up to California and they sold it in the black neighbourhoods. They were getting all the cash. The money was then, few people were making money, but most of it, 90% of it was going to the CIA, who were using it to buy guns on the black market to arm the rebels against the communists.
It's amazing what you find out, isn't it?
Where in the CIA had to produce American-made guns, so they had to get guns from Russia, but the only place that they could get volume of guns from Russia was from Israel to give to the Arabs. So they had this flow because